Have the courage to use your own reason. That is the motto of enlightenment. But only he who, himself enlightened, is not afraid of shadows. The people naturally adhere most to doctrines which demand the least self-exertion and the least use of their own reason, and which can best accommodate their duties to their inclinations. It is through education that all the good in the world arises. Each according to his own way of seeing things seek one goal, that is gratification. Seek not the favor of the multitude, it is seldom got by honest and lawful means. But seek the testimony of few, and number not voices, but weigh them. All so-called moral interest consists simply in respect for the law. The human heart refuses to believe in a universe without a purpose. Genius is the ability to independently arrive at and understand concepts that would normally have to be taught by another person. When a thoughtful human being has overcome incentives to vice and is aware of having done his bitter duty, he finds himself in a state that could be called happiness, a state of contentment and peace of mind in which virtue is its own reward. Religion is the recognition of all our duties as divine commands. I have no knowledge of myself as I am, but merely as I appear to myself. Live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. Patience is the strength of the weak, impatience is the weakness of the strong. Happiness, though an indefinite concept, is the goal of all rational beings. All trades, arts, and handiworks have gained by division of labor where the different kinds of work are not distinguished and divided, where everyone is a jack of all trades, their manufactures remain still in the greatest barbarism. Act so that the maxim of your act could be made the principle of a universal law. After death the soul possesses self-consciousness, otherwise it would be the subject of spiritual death, which has already been disproved. With this self-consciousness necessarily remains personality and the consciousness of personal identity. Honesty is better than any policy. Imagination is a powerful agent for creating, as it were, a second nature out of the material supplied to it by actual nature. The greatest problem for the human species, the solution of which nature compels him to seek, is that of attaining a civil society which can administer justice universally. At some future day it will be proved, I cannot say when and where, that the human soul is, while in earth life, already in an uninterrupted communication with those living in another world. The greatest human quest is to know what one must do in order to become a human being. Reason should investigate its own parameters before declaring its omniscience. We find that the more a cultivated reason devotes itself to the aim of enjoying life and happiness, the further does man get away from true contentment. Every human being should always be treated as an end and never as a mere instrument. Inexperienced in the course of world affairs and incapable of being prepared for all the chances that happen in it, I ask myself only, can you also will that your maxim should become a universal law? Where you cannot, it is to be rejected. The only thing that is good without qualification is a good will. The busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live, the more conscious we are of life. Fallacious and misleading arguments are most easily detected if set out in correct syllogistic form. Handel Nernak Durgen eigen Maxime, durch die du zugleich wollen kannst, das sei ein allgemeines Gesetzwort. Do what is right, though the world may perish. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. Without man and his potential for moral progress, the whole of reality would be a mere wilderness, a thing in vain, and have no final purpose. The wise man can change his mind, the stubborn one never. In the natural state, no concept of God can arise, and the false one which one makes for himself is harmful. Hence, the theory of natural religion can be true only where there is no science, therefore it cannot bind all men together. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. Humanity is at its greatest perfection in the race of the whites. Innocence is indeed a glorious thing, but unfortunately it does not keep very well and is easily led astray. Standing armies shall in time be totally abolished. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. The means employed by nature to bring about the development of all the capacities of men is their antagonism in society, so far as this is, in the end, the cause of a lawful order among men. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. It is precisely in knowing its limits that philosophy consists. Dogmatism is thus the dogmatic procedure of pure reason without previous criticism of its own powers, and in opposing this procedure, we must not be supposed to lend any countenance to that loquacious shallowness which arrogates to itself the name of popularity, nor. Time is not an empirical concept, for neither coexistence nor succession would be perceived by us if the representation of time did not exist as a foundation a priori. But a lie is a lie, and in itself intrinsically evil, whether it be told with good or bad intents. The nice thing about living in a small town is that when you don't know what you are doing, someone else does. If a man is often the subject of conversation, he soon becomes the subject of criticism. The inscrutable wisdom through which we exist is not less worthy of veneration in respect to what it denies us than in respect to what it has granted. The science of mathematics presents the most brilliant example of how pure reason may successfully enlarge its domain without the aid of experience. The more we come in contact with animals and observe their behavior, the more we love them, for we see how great is their care of the young. Even a man's exact imitation of the song of the nightingale displeases us when we discover that it is a mimicry, and not the nightingale. The existence of the Bible, as a book for the people, is the greatest benefit which the human race has ever experienced. Every attempt to belittle it is a crime against humanity. He who has made great moral progress ceases to pray. There can be no doubt that all our knowledge begins with experience.